Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 233, October the 26th, 2017. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your comments and all your support from all of you. I really appreciate it. Well, today, as I said, it is October 26th. Hillary's birthday. That's right, it's the Rotten Reverend Clinton's birthday. She turned 70 today. And you know what? She got some wonderful gifts. Are you watching, Hillary? Hey, let's take a look at some of the wonderful gifts that Hillary got for her birthday. Oh, you're going to like this first gift, Hillary. The very first gift I can see that you received was from our good friend over at the Hill, John Solomon. Doing excellent work. Sends a hell of a gift. How about this one, Hillary? The FBI informant in the Obama-era Russian nuclear bribery case has now been cleared to testify before Congress. The Justice Department released a former FBI informant from his confidentiality agreement. This will allow him to testify before Congress. He may talk about corruption, bribery involving transactions in the uranium market. Vladimir Mikrin, Rosatom, 10X, Uranium One. That's one of your personal favorites, Reverend. How about the Clinton Foundation? Oh, he gets to talk about your lovely foundation. You'll like that one, Hillary. Hey, how about the racketeering, kickbacks, extortion, and money laundering? All things that you love to do, Reverend. Congratulations and happy birthday. What a wonderful gift. Oh, but there's more. Yes, that's right, Reverend. How about this gift from Dave Boyer at the Washington Times? How about a petition to the FCC stating that you, Rotten Reverend, violated campaign finance law by failing to disclose payments for a dossier on President Trump, according to a complaint filed on Wednesday with the Federal Election Commission? That's right, Reverend. You and the DNC effectively hid payments from the public scrutiny, contrary to the requirements of federal law. By law, the campaign and party committees must disclose the reason money is spent and its recipient. In this case, the Russians. What you did there, Rotten Reverend, kind of tricky, but it's not going to fly. You described the money that you sent to Mr. Elias, your general counsel, who was handling your dirty work. You described what you were sending him money for as legal services. Pretty tricky, but not tricky enough. Because this was misleading, it subverted reporting requirements, violating the FCC regulations, which carries with it jail time and or fines. Congratulations, Reverend, and happy fucking birthday. You deserve every bit of it. How about this one, Reverend? Happy birthday once again. Oh, what a gift. This gift coming to you from the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees, who will now hold joint hearings investigating, number one, how the FBI handled your email probe with your private, illegal, unencrypted homebrew server. Also, they will look into the illegal, unsecure, unencrypted homebrew server. Yes, that's right. They're also going to look into the mishandling of classified emails, including 22 SAP programs, the destruction of all those devices, the obstruction of justice, destroying evidence even though you were under subpoena to secure it and turn it over, which you did not do. They're also, let's see, they're also going to, let's see, what do they have in there? Oh, they're also going to look into why the FBI and not the DOJ recommended that you not be charged. They're also going to look at the timeline for announcing their decisions. It looks like James Comey, who's going to be appearing before Congress here in the very near future, may have a little belated birthday gift for you, Reverend. That's right. What a birthday you're having. Boy, oh boy. My goodness. You know, Reverend, you may want to go out and get yourself a little gift. Nothing wrong with buying yourself a birthday gift. I suggest you go out and buy yourself a nice big umbrella. You're going to need it because there's one hell of a shitstorm headed your way, Reverend. Happy birthday, Hillary. Well, what do we have here? It looks like Senator Magoo has got his pecker and a bit of a ringer. He probably doesn't use it much anymore, but it's in a ringer anyway. It appears now. First, let's back up for those of you who are new subscribers who have not been following TowerGate. Basically, the relationship between Senator Magoo, gotta have the theme music for Mr. Magoo, do we not? Yes, we do. Senator Magoo, for those of you who don't know, his story is, of course, we know that he presented James Comey, the dishonorable James Comey, with a copy of the full 35-page dossier on December the 5th of 2016. He received a copy of that dossier because once it was complete and Christopher Steele sent it to Fusion GPS, he sent along a note saying, hey, make sure you send along a copy for our good friend, Senator Magoo. That's how he got his copy. But how did he even go to know about this? Well, we learned earlier from Senator Magoo's lie, which he said that the way he learned about the dossier was that he was in Nova Scotia at a conference where he came into a conversation with a man named Sir Andrew Wood. And from that conversation with Sir Andrew Wood, he learned about the dossier. That's what Senator Magoo said. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-o. It appears that Sir Andrew Wood has just recently appeared on the BBC and had a little chit-chat about that little meeting in Nova Scotia, Senator Magoo. And guess what? He's got a different take. You want to hear it? I know you do. It appears that according to Sir Andrew Wood, and for those of you who don't know, Sir Andrew Wood served as the UK's ambassador to Russia at the same time that Christopher Steele was the UK's intelligence head in Moscow. So they had a very good little relationship going. And so Magoo obviously knew that the way to get to Christopher Steele, to get his hands on that dossier, was to find someone who could hook him up with Christopher Steele's contact information. And that's exactly what, according to Sir Andrew Wood, did happen. McCain says that that they got into the conversation and Sir Andrew Wood started enlightening him on the dossier. But apparently, John Magoo knew all about the dossier before he even talked to Sir Andrew Wood, because Sir Andrew Wood is telling this interviewer on the BBC that John McCain approached him about the dossier. So what happened is John McCain saw Sir Andrew Wood. He walked over and said, hey man, I've been hearing about this dossier. I've been hearing about this thing, and you know, I guess this guy Christopher Steele used to be the head bureau chief in Moscow, who I believe that you know very well is the guy who was kind of working on that. Is there any way that you can hook me up? And I'm sure that Sir Andrew Wood said, sure, old mate, I bet I can hook you up right now. I got his fucking number right here in my wallet. Here, let me give it to you. And I'm sure that he gave him the contact information. And what did Senator Magoo do? Well, he sent his right-hand man, David Kremer. Immediately, he hopped on a plane and flew over to London, where he met with Christopher Steele. And then Christopher Steele allowed Mr. Kramer to take photographs of documents. He also filled him in on a lot of things about the dossier, all of which are bullshit. He filled him in, and then Kramer came back to D.C., got back with John McCain, gave McCain the information he had gotten from Christopher Steele personally. And I wonder who paid for that little trip. My guess is the taxpayers or some donors. And let's not forget that it was Senator Magoo who allowed this lawyer, Natalia Veselnitskaya, who was part of the setup in that little meeting with Manafort, Kushner, and Don Jr. Remember, she's got a photo taken from the inside of Senator Magoo's office. But before leaving, she got a generous little cash award from Senator Magoo's foundation. So Senator Magoo was stuffing money into the purse of Veselnitskaya before she was involved in the setup of Manafort, Kushner, and Trump Jr. Senator Magoo, do you think they'll play the theme music as he's walking up to the hearing, to the table, as he sits down? That's what we need. We need to add a little levity to this bullshit, don't we? Yes, we do. Nothing like a little humor to go along with Mr. Magoo. We got to get him before he kicks the bucket. I say put him on a lie detector test. Otherwise, he'll lie. Maybe we should waterboard him. He supports waterboard. No, he doesn't. He doesn't? Oh, well, maybe he needs to be waterboarded, and he will, because he'll find out it works. We'll get some truth out of the old fart for once in his life. What a disaster, Senator Magoo. He's got a lot of questions to answer, doesn't he? I believe he does. I wish I was on that panel asking questions to Senator Magoo. I sure do. Because I would get the truth out of him. Senator Magoo needs to be castrated, stretched, and quartered. Then found guilty and prosecuted for his crimes. Well, my friends, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson. I don't know how many of you saw Tucker Carlson's monologue the other evening. I guess it was Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday night. He did a monologue. Now, there's something about this Las Vegas shooting that's really caught in the crawl of Tucker Carlson. Most other journalists have moved on. Not Tucker Carlson. There's something about the Las Vegas shooting that's really, really eating away at him. And in his monologue, he asked 40 very good questions. If you have not, about the Las Vegas shooting. If you've not seen that little monologue, I highly recommend you watch it. He asked some very good questions. And remember, Tucker Carlson is a smart man. He's a very, very good journalist. He actually has a degree in journalism. He actually spent most of his career doing real journalism. He knows how to investigate. He knows how to get at the truth. Let's put it that way. He is a professional, all right? And he's got a lot of credibility. He knows it's a dangerous story. He knows his career could be ruined for following this story. But something's going on with Tucker Carlson. There's something about this story he can't let go of, and that's good. I'm right with him all the way, because I have a lot of the same questions. I have a couple other questions he didn't mention, and I will be emailing them to him. I think he needs to take a look at some other things that he hasn't looked at yet. He's got a lot on his plate. But let's talk about his show from the other night. He had received a document from the Customs and Border Control. That would be called a leak. Someone, obviously, at the Customs and Border Control who watched his show sent him a copy of a form that shows Jesus Campos, our good friend Jesus, Zero the hero, shows that Jesus Campos entering the U.S. through Mexico 1 week after the Las Vegas shooting. He entered the same crossing in January of 2017. This particular time, he was driving a rental car with California plates. Keep in mind, as Tucker Carlson says, Jesus was the only eyewitness to the largest mass shooting in modern American history. Some of the questions posed by our good friend Tucker. Why was he allowed to leave the country right after the shooting? Especially since the sheriff said in his very first press conference, before he was neutered, that there likely or possibly could be other people involved. Of course there were! Any numbnuts can figure that one out. Deputy Dog has been castrated, but before being castrated, he was looking good. How could Jesus have traveled with a gunshot wound in the leg? Did he fly? Did he drive? Was his employer aware that he left the country? Well, my guess is it was his employer that made him leave the country. MGM is right now facing mega lawsuits. They did not want Jesus going out on TV and saying something that could cost them millions and millions of dollars. No, they did not. We've seen him on TV. He don't play well. He's not ready for prime time. Get that guy in front of a camera with some lights. He might say something he shouldn't say. There's a lot we don't know about Jesus. Many of us are still looking into Jesus. I've got someone working on that right now. Believe me. What day did Campos get to Mexico? That's a very good question. It'll probably tell us whether or not he drove or flew, because it's about 700 miles from what I understand. How was he able to drive back? Hundreds of miles from the San Diego border to Nevada, especially with a big bullet hole in his leg. Bet that didn't feel very good. Why did he take a rental car? That's another good question. He has an awfully nice Corvette sitting in his driveway. Looks to be a 2015-2016. Last time I checked, my buddy has one. I believe he paid 58 grand for his. That's an awfully nice car for a security guard to drive, don't you think? I've got a Vet, but it's an old Vet. I damn sure ain't got a $58,000 Vet. I got a 1980 that I paid 12 grand for that needed work. I spent 20 grand fixing it. It's now pretty sweet. 430 horsepower. Boom. Why did it take a government leak to find out? Had Campos ever had... Ooh, here's a really good question. Had Campos ever had previous contact with Stephen Paddock? Boy, that's a question we'd all like to know. And let's not forget that after he arrived back from Mexico, he was supposed to do all these television interviews, and then he cancels at the last moment. And we're told by his union rep that it's because he had to go to urgent care to get some treatment for that leg. So he takes off for a week with a bullet hole in his leg, is not apparently worried about medical treatment. Then he comes back, books up 5 interviews, and then on the spur of the moment, darts out of the room and heads to urgent care. And if I'm correct here, urgent care doesn't treat gunshot wounds. They'll give you a cold pack. Yes, they will. They can help you with that sneeze, that dry cough. But I don't think they treat gunshot wounds. You come in with a gunshot wound to urgent care, they probably dress the wound and call 911 and send you to a trauma center. Colds, yes. Gunshot wounds, nah. Don't think so. My sister's a nurse. I asked her. That's what she told me. So if you need a pre-employment exam, maybe a little drug screen, maybe you need a little something for the sniffles, urgent care is a good way to go. Not for a gunshot wound, my friends. And you get shot in the leg with a 5.56 at a muzzle velocity of 2,250 feet per second at a range of about 30 yards. And how he only got hit with one shot is a mystery. Remember, this weapon that apparently was a semi-automatic weapon was firing at least 6 rounds, as much as 11 rounds, somewhere between 6 and 11 rounds per second, which means he got hit with 1 round. How do you only get hit with 1 round when there are 6 to 11 rounds coming at you per second? Maybe he's a good dancer. Maybe he's a very, very good dancer. Maybe he's like Fred Astaire. He looked a little chunky and stocky to me. Had that cane with him. I don't know. Jesus. I think we need a little bit of a workup on Jesus and find out who this guy really is. And what about the girlfriend? Ain't heard squat from her recently, have we? The 2 key witnesses who would know more about Mr. Paddock than anybody. His girlfriend, she was living with him. She knew his deepest, most interpersonal thoughts. We can't find her anywhere. She's disappeared. Poof. Just like Jesus. They disappear. They're here and they're gone. Poof. Like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Absolutely amazing. This is like this whole thing. It's like a bad cartoon. That's why I suggest maybe we should call Scooby-Doo. Maybe Scooby and Shaggy and the boys can figure it out. Because I'm pretty sure Christopher No Shit Sherlock Ray ain't going to figure it out. I give him a big fat vote of no confidence. How about you? We also learned that Mr. Paddock's hard drive is missing. Okay, first we're told that he's got 2 high-dollar video cameras with tripods set up there in his room. But there's nothing on them. And then the cops tell us when they broke in there, they found several laptops. But now they're only talking about this one laptop. And now we're finding out that the hard drive was taken out. He erased all of his history on all of his social media accounts. He apparently brought 2 high-dollar video cameras with tripods, carried them up to the room for no reason at all. Didn't even shoot any video. Nothing there. Had a couple of computers up there. Nothing on them. And now, one of the hard drives is missing. Why? Because you can't really erase a hard drive. You can always recover the data. Unless the hard drive's completely missing. Maybe Jesus has a hard drive. Maybe we should turn him up, down, and shake him. And see if a hard drive falls out of his boxers. Probably Winnie the Pooh boxers. It would fit right in with this fucking story. Well, about a week ago when everybody was talking about the JFK releases, I said, go back and watch the video, I doubt that they're going to release anything that's going to be incriminating. That information's probably been destroyed, such as E. Howard Hunt's personal diary, which they confiscated, where he lays out everything. But hey, he did his deathbed confession, so we already know that he was a participant and that LBJ was running the operation with the CIA, part of the operation to carry out the assassination, along with the Secret Service and the FBI to cover it all up. He told us that the name of the operation was the Big Event and that he was a bench warmer. He also, he didn't admit to this, but I think we all know from looking at the photographs, he was one of the 3 tramps that was found on the boxcar. The 3 of them were, of course, picked up and released by none other than a deep state insider named Mr. Cabell. Who was Mr. Cabell? He was the Dallas police chief. Who was his brother? He was the number 3 man at the CIA that Kennedy fired over the Bay of Pigs. Oh, it's quite the story. Yes, it is. It's got a lot of webs. A lot of webs. I researched JFK a long time. So it doesn't surprise me that we learned today on Hillary Rotten Reverend Clinton's birthday that they're not really going to release all these files on the JFK assassination. They're not really going to give us those 30,000 pages that were redacted. Nah, they're going to go ahead and keep them redacted. We're going to see very little. Won't tell us shit. They're not going to give us the 3,100 pages that were never released. Won't see them anywhere. My guess is right now they're being destroyed. I think Trump had good intentions when he said he was going to allow the release, but I told you the deep state is never going to allow themselves to have to admit guilt to any of their crimes. That's not how the shadow government works, my friends. They're not going to tell the truth about JFK. They're not going to tell the truth about 9/11. They're not going to tell the truth about Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy. They're not going to tell the truth about Waco. They're certainly not going to tell you the truth about those poor Branch Davidians and all them children who were burned to a crisp by Janet Reno and Slick Willie, Crooked Slick Willie, Crooked Pecker Slick Willie, whatever you want to call him. Wife of the Rotten Reverend, Crooked Hillary, Crooked Bill. They're a crooked couple. But I think that the Clinton crime spree may be coming to an end. They have no more power. They can't deliver any more favors. They can take a hell of a lot of people down with them. But maybe the Clinton crime spree is about to come to an end. Get that umbrella, Hillary. I see a shitstorm coming your way. Woo. Alrighty then. The reason that they're giving is because the full release of all the files might threaten national security. My friends, nothing happened in Dealey Plaza on November 22nd, 1963 in the coup d'etat that would have anything to do with national security in the year 2017. Come on, you can do better than that. You can do much better than that. No shit, Sherlock Ray. You surely can, Mr. Pompeo. Deep state swamp monsters, as Mora has described them so articulately and so well. Thank you so much, Mara. Is Mr. Pompeo on your swamp creature list? I assume he is. So the other reason they give is it might create conspiracy theories. A conspiracy is 2 or more people planning or organizing or carrying out a crime. 2 or more people collaborating together, organizing, plotting, planning, carrying out a crime. That's a conspiracy. So, they happen every day. And they happen in government thousands of times a day, as I've just mentioned. How about they tell us about the truth about the real events in the Gulf of Tonkin that started the Vietnam War, which was nothing more than an operation to give cover to the CIA's international drug trade? How about if we talk about that little attack over in the Mediterranean during the Six-Day War, the USS Liberty? How about a little truth there? You know, you can kill all these conspiracy theories, Mr. President. And by the way, very, very disappointed, Mr. President. I'm a big supporter. I'm a big fan. But I don't like this move. No, 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 no. To say that you are going to fuel conspiracy theories by giving us the truth is exactly 180 degrees the opposite. It's when you give us the truth that the conspiracy theories stop. When we get the truth, we don't have to sit here and try to figure it out. Because we'll know. We can stop guessing. Because we'll know. And the conspiracy theories will stop. The conspiracy theories emerge in the absence of facts and information amongst a public who is quite curious and interested to know the truth. Something that you'll never get in the swamp from the shadow government and all of their friends, like the rotten Reverend Clinton and all of her friends like Senator Magoo. The Justice Department has agreed to pay the victims of the Obama IRS scandal, and they have apologized. We're sorry we fucked you up the ass for the past 6 months and drug you through tax court and cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and lost sleep and stress and all the other things that we can do as the IRS. We apologize. Well, it also appears that they have paid an undisclosed amount to 400 conservative groups. Wow, that's a lot of money. So we, the taxpayers, had to pony up. We had to pony up to pay damages to the people who were screwed by Lois Lerner and the IRS, because Lois Lerner and the IRS and the Obama administration screwed them. So we, the taxpayers, have to pay because Obama and Lois Lerner screwed these people. It seems to me that Obama and Lois Lerner should be paying for screwing those people, not me and you. How's that work? What kind of fucking justice system is this? It's like a three-ring circus. This place is getting crazy. Yes, but Jeff Sessions doesn't look like he... Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. There we go. Hi, this is Jeff Sessions. Now, I know that most of you heard the news today that the IRS apologized and paid a lot of money to people who were victimized by the Obama administration and the IRS. Now, I know a lot of you are upset, and you know me, I'm watching lots of crime. I'm looking at lots of crime. I'm investigating lots of crime. Now, I won't actually prosecute any of the crime because I'm kind of busy, as I've said. I'm kind of busy because, I'm busy cracking down on those medicinal marijuana places and states that have legalized the devil weed. And, of course, I'm ramping up them federal foreclosures on folks before they've even been convicted of a crime, because that's what we do here in the deep state. And, of course, I'm part of it. But as far as Lois Lerner, now, there's no reason to mess with that woman right now. I know she fucked a lot of people and cost y'all a lot of money, but now she's home, not bothering a soul. She's collecting her 6-figure government pension and full benefits for life, and just having a nice quiet life in the suburbs. And I just, there's no need to mess with that woman right now. We'll just go ahead and pay off all the people who she fucked in the ass, and it'll all be all right, folks. Just it's the swamp. It's what we do here. Yes, that's right. Jeff Sessions, he's not going to do anything. The overachiever, the eager beaver, always on the case. Always on the case. Right now, I imagine he's probably maybe stopped by to visit Lois Lerner and let her know she has nothing to worry about. She's probably served him up a bowl of warm milk and given him a belly rub. That's my guess. Anything's possible in the swamp. Warm glass of milk and a belly rub for Jeff Sessions, the eager beaver. John Podesta and Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz denies knowing anything about the dossier. Of course, Patty Willing, one of my favorite subscribers, told us that 2 days ago. She told us about Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz, but now we got Podesta. He was the Rotten Reverend Clinton's campaign chair. How is it possible that the Rotten Reverend Clinton paid $6 million, the DNC paid $3 million, that's $9 million, to Mr. Elias, their front man, to gather all this information, and they weren't the least bit interested in getting any of it? Bullshit. Everybody knows it's bullshit. And as far as the Rotten Reverend Clinton, there are already people who've gone out to the archives, and they've documented, at least the last time I've checked, they probably found more by now, but at least 8 times the Rotten Reverend Clinton came out and tweeted things, information from the dossier before it was ever published, despite the fact that she says she had no idea anything about the dossier before it was published. She just learned about it from BuzzFeed. Bullshit. She's a liar, and she's going to get caught in this lie. I can assure you of that. You're not going to slide out of this one, Reverend. Get that umbrella. Paul Ryan says that the FBI will turn over the dossier, all the dossier documents, by next week. Chris Wray, no shit Sherlock. Do you think he's going to do that? Let me tell you what. They're not going to turn over all the documents regarding the dossier. No, they're not. They're going to turn over some stuff, but believe me, they're in there right now destroying everything they don't want us to see. If you believe that, you believe in God knows what. Finally, the most important story of the day. Kristen Taylor from the Washington Post now reporting that the FBI was involved in funding the dossier, right along with the Rotten Reverend Clinton and Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the DNC, and our good friend, Mr. Podesta, the pedophile, along with his brother, who's now under criminal investigation for his dealings with Uranium One. Well, Kristen Taylor now reporting from the Washington Post that the deal was that the FBI was going to reimburse. That's right. She's saying that the FBI was going to reimburse a portion of the money that the Clintons and the DNC were paying Fusion GPS. Now, if no shit Sherlock Christopher Wray, the FBI director, produces documents that show that the FBI was planning on reimbursing the Rotten Reverend and Debbie Blabbermouth Wasserman Schultz for their portion or some portion of the funding for the dossier, that will be real news. Because that will tell us that the Rotten Reverend Clinton, the DNC, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Justice, Obama administration were all involved in putting together this trashy document to destroy the candidacy and the presidency of Donald Trump. This will be the biggest scandal in American history, and a lot of people, asses, will go to jail. And John Magoo, you may not be living long, but what months you have to live should be behind bars. Thank you so much for tuning in today. TowerGate, day 233. I'll be back tomorrow with Happy Friday, Fun Friday. You guys have a good night. Goodbye.